68-year-old Ron Williams has been living at Lincoln Manor for 11 months. Williams suffers from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and uses an oxygen machine, which makes it difficult for him to get around. Williams says when inspections are done and bedbugs are found, it prevents him from getting the help he needs.
Whenever they find bedbugs in here, that cancels my services. I can't get no one to come in and clean for me, cook for me, which the lady was doing, taking me to the grocery store.
Williams says he does the best he can with cleaning and only receives 1 meal a day from Meals on Wheels when services are interrupted. Another Lincoln Manor resident, Rose Nancy Newman, thinks the laundry room is contributing to the problem. She says she witnessed her neighbor leaving the laundry room with bed bugs on her arm.
She came out of there one day and she had them crawling on her. Yes. And not only me picking them off of her, but the neighbor down the hall picked them off of her.
Newman says she doesn't have bed bugs, but many residents in one area of the building have them. Family Care Coordinator Debbie McKay says they are doing all they can to help the seniors find other housing. She says Alcona County is lacking in low-income housing and expressed her disappointment in how the seniors are being treated.
I'm just so angry that people would treat our senior citizens this way. They're not given more respect. They're not treated with more dignity.
According to McKay, management will come in and spot spray, but the bed bugs will move to another unit.
You may recall our story last month about a bed bug issue at Lincoln Manor. Since that time, there has been more new developments. WBKB's Stephanie Manici sat down with Lenny Avery, the executive director of the Alcona County Commission on Aging. Here's that interview.
Lenny, what has transpired since the residents have spoken to the media about the bedbug issue?
Okay, so what's happening now, we have 2 of those residents that are going to be evicted. 2 of them, one of them is in a court case that will be starting here in December, fighting his eviction, and the other one will be, my understanding, forcibly moved out of her apartment.
You said one of the residents has been trying to pay her rent, but what happens at her every attempt?
They take the rent check out of the box and put it back into her apartment. And they basically have labeled all of her items in the room as anything with wood as trash.
Lenny, what is happening with the 90-year-old resident who was laying white towels down on her furniture just so the bed bugs could be visible?
And she's been throwing them away or putting them inside of a jar and alcohol, hoping to kill them. It's very difficult to kill them. And that's what she's having to do. And she says that she's afraid to go to sleep because they eat her alive.
Lenny, you, your team, and some members from the community filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office. Tell me where you stand with that.
Unfortunately, I received a letter today basically stating that they were closing the file. They didn't give me any reasoning why they were going to close the file, but they said that our best and only option is to file a lawsuit.
Thank you, Lenny, for taking the time to speak with me. Avery further stated that the village council said this is a private matter and that they've opted to stay out of this. He said the Attorney General's office suggested that they move forward with the lawsuit. In Alpena, Stephanie Manici, WBKB News.
Thanks for that, Stephanie. And tune in to tomorrow's newscast when Stephanie speaks with one of the attorneys representing a couple of the tenants. Today we have part 2 of the interview regarding the bedbug issue at Lincoln Manor. WBKB's Stephanie Manici sat down with Los Angeles attorney Brian Virag, who has filed a claim against the property owner Prime Realty. Here's that interview.
Brian, I understand that you filed a lawsuit earlier this week. What type of damages are you seeking?
The lawsuit essentially is going to be asking for monetary, which is money damages, and punitive damages, which are to punish the wrongdoer. And then finally, if necessary, we are going to be asking for injunctive relief.
What will an injunctive relief do?
To prevent the management from not renewing people's leases just because they've complained about these conditions that they are having to be exposed to.
So is this what's happening?
During our investigation, we found that the management doesn't seem to be responsive to the tenants' complaints. And in fact, it appears as though they're even going so far as to not renew people's leases.
Brian, does management have the right to evict tenants at will?
The management does not have the right to evict people because they complain about substandard conditions, especially the bed bug issue.
In addition to Prime Realty and the management office, who else is involved in the suit?
It's going to be anybody essentially who's had their hand in the cookie jar, proverbially, who have been not taking care of the property in a way that's keeping the residents and the tenants there safe.
Thank you, Mr. Virak, for taking the time to speak with me today. Virak says management is not renewing some of the tenants' leases, and some are facing eviction. In Alpena, Stephanie Minichi, WBKB News.